Welcome to my channel. Imagine you want to start your first startup, but you're lacking the money for it. I guess this is a common situation. Every day you think about your project and the possibilities it could open for you. You love your idea and you are obsessed with it. But first, you have to tackle the biggest hurdle: finding the money. How and where? That disappointing question crushes you, killing all your enthusiasm and desire to start. In this video, I'll tell you how to use the signs of the universe to accomplish your dreams and boost your success. If someone hesitates to accept the influence of these signs, listen to my story. I'll prove to you that the signs of the universe, if you notice them, can even lead to pivotal steps in your destiny. First, let's figure out what the signs of the universe mean. How do you see them? The problem is that we don't pay attention to them, we ignore them. To make it clearer, I created a short classification of them. The first kind of sign from the universe is luck. Many successful people, when asked how they got their riches, simply answer, "We were just lucky." And partly they are right. People of the same caliber, with the same appearance and diligence, can achieve strikingly different results. Why? Well, it's often good luck or the help of the universe. Albert Einstein said, "Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous." That signs from the universe are God's signs, bring good luck into our lives. I want to tell you a short story from my life. My first business was in publishing. While I cherished the idea of my first magazine, I didn't have enough money to print it. I imagined a glossy magazine with beautiful pictures, and I wanted an initial print run of at least 10,000 copies. My plan was to visit several printing companies to negotiate the price of printing for my first startup. Initially, I went to the best printing factory that was located in my city at that time. I went to the sales department, I calculated the price, and then they told me the cost of printing exceeded my budget by 60%. I was upset, but not disappointed, because I was only on the first step of implementing my plan. After a meltdown in the sales department, I went to a small corporate restaurant that belonged to the printing company. The staff was having lunch there, and there were no available tables. However, I noticed one table where a middle-aged man was eating alone. I asked if I could share the table with him, and he agreed. During our meal, we had an ordinary conversation. He asked me questions about why I was there and what my occupation was. I enthusiastically told him about my desire to publish my own magazine. I even shared my future content ideas and my failure to calculate the cost of printing my first edition at this printing company. The conversation was pleasant. After we finished our meal and I was about to leave, he said, "I want to introduce you to someone who might be able to help you. Follow me." I did. Imagine my astonishment when he brought me to the office of the CEO. He opened the door and said, "This girl has a good idea, help her to print her magazine at our company." In an hour, I had a deal. The humble man with whom I was lucky to have lunch turned out to be the owner of the printing company. It was a great opportunity to take the first step in my publishing journey. My publishing business started with good luck. Later on, after 9 years of successful publishing experience, I look back on this incident with gratitude and inspiration. My advice: if you have an idea and believe that it will be successful, do not procrastinate. Make steps to implement it, even if you have not enough budget. If you are determined and focused on your desire, the universe will send you a signal. The second kind of sign: recurring events. Have you ever noticed that some events repeat in a short period of time, as if someone is trying to grab your attention to something important? These events can be either good or bad. However, it's important to stop and analyze them. Misfortunes rarely come alone. If you notice that bad events keep repeating, it could be a warning that more troubles are heading your way in the near future. Here's an example from my life. A year before the war, in 2021, we had several signs. In July, Kyiv experienced abnormal showers. Rain in some locations exceeded the daily norm by dozens of times. Since Kyiv is located on mountainous terrain, water accumulated in certain areas and like a waterfall collapsed onto the flat part of the city. Our warehouse was accidentally flooded, and a large portion of our goods was ruined. In my entire life, I had never faced such serious consequences from rain. Just a week later, the same thing happened in Odessa, at a mall where we had a retail shop. My sales girl sent me a video of water flowing from walls. A very strange coincidence. Yeah, I paid attention to those recurring events. In February 2022, 2 days before the Russian invasion, I was driving my car when unexpectedly one of the wheels hit a small but very deep hole in the road. One of the wheels even ripped, and I couldn't drive on. At that moment, I had a strong feeling that this wasn't an ordinary accident, as I had driven on that road thousands of times before. I wish I had taken that sign more seriously. The third kind of sign from the universe I call coincidences. Have you ever noticed that you run into the same person by accident in different places, or that you see the same object in various locations? Does it seem suspicious to you? In my previous video, I shared a coincidence about how I received the same book from 2 different men, and how that book played a significant role in my career afterwards. Here's another family story from my mother. One day, after visiting a crowded food market, she realized that a thief had stolen her wallet. She was very upset and told me about the incident. But just a few weeks later, while walking down the street, she found a banknote, the exact same amount that had been stolen earlier. Oh my gosh, this story seemed unbelievable. I said to her, "God loves you, Mom." The next kind of sign, numbers. Sometimes we notice that certain numbers appear repeatedly in our lives. If you are an attentive person, you might already have an idea of which numbers bring you good luck. These numbers act like messengers, informing you about something. For example, if you are a student taking exams, it might be a good idea to write down the number of the exam ticket that brought you luck and earned you an excellent grade. I know my lucky numbers, but I don't focus on them when making important decisions. However, after I see the positive results of my actions, I often notice that my lucky numbers continue to be lucky for me. That fascinates me and gives me a sense of belief that God, or universe, is still with me, lightening my way. Another example of signs: extreme lateness to events, air travel, or situations we planned to attend but missed. Remember the film about the man who gave his plane ticket to someone else, and that plane crashed afterwards? Or the well-known story from the past about people who missed the Titanic and survived? Have you ever had a similar situation where lateness stunned you? Sometimes we feel very frustrated when we miss something or fail to fulfill something when it was needed or planned. But later we realize that it was the universe sending us a sign and saving us from undesirable or even horrible consequences. How to recognize and use the signs of the universe? My advice: be attentive, observe surroundings consciously, and analyze events or objects that seem unusual. Develop your intuition, leverage your skills, and recognize opportunities. Many people live in turmoil, focusing on insignificant, meaningless matters. We are surrounded by distractions that divert our attention from what truly matters. Sometimes we get upset over a small loss, and that makes us sluggish, drains our energy, and dulls our intuition. Focus solely on the most important matters. Meditate, open your mind, and the universe will hear you and respond. Listen, believe, act. The universe is already speaking. If this video helped you, give it a like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Your sign might be just one.